You can see on the graphic there, but an interesting lineup nonetheless, with Great Britain, the reigning world champions, well to the fore here. We start on the far side with Australia, and Australia, Amy Ives, Amber Bradley, Zoe Uphill and Kerry Hoare. In lane 2 it is the United States, Leah Purnell in the bow there. She was the only survivor from last year's crew that finished in 6th place. Then we come to Great Britain. Catherine Granger in the stroke seat, Franz Houghton, Debbie Flood and Annie Vernon, world champions for the past 2 seasons, and first of course in the Munich World Cup, the first World Cup of the season. And then for China, we've got Tang Fang Ji, and in the stroke seat Jin, and they were pretty quick in the time trial race, and in fact they were the fastest in 6:18:20, but can they reproduce that on race day? And Katrin Boron for Germany in the women's quad once again, and Boron back. And in the stroke seat, I think there.
She is in the stroke seat.
And the Ukraine, who quite often can produce a decent crew. This is 2 of Elena and Tetiana, who are in the stern seats there. They were in the crew that finished 4th last season, but of course they are in lane 6, which means they were one of the slower, or they were the slowest qualifier.
China, Germany, Ukraine. Attention.
So pretty good, and everybody away without any problems whatsoever, and that's a very even start.
Very even start, but I think there's a good deal of anxiety among all these crews to see whether this German crew, which is a revision of a revision of a revision, has come up into a different level of performance, because it did appear from their semi-finals and their heats that they were working on a new level, and that Boron has found another crew of Domscheit, Lutzer and Oppelt to put behind her, who might well be serious challengers, which they have not looked to be in the earlier regattas of this season.
Yeah, but remember, Katrin Boron, she started the family, went away from the sport, came back. It took her a little time to recapture her fitness and her form. Now she's back in the stroke seat. You're looking at someone who, of course, has got 3 Olympic gold medals from double sculls and was in the Olympic gold medal 4 from Athens. So never say never for Katrin Boron.
Never say never for Katrin Boron. This British forward, they're now about half a length out on the field. This is race plan. They know what they're doing, and their anxiety is not only have Germany managed to put together a decent quad, but to look hard at this Chinese crew and see whether it is going to pose a challenge. You never know with the China crews, as we've been saying throughout the day. They've got a big squad. They can produce a slight variance in some crew and suddenly turn out to have a completely different turn of speed. 2.54 seconds gained over the first 500 meters. That's truly impressive from this British quad, because we know that they have the pace to carry this on right the way through. But they've been challenged by China and they've been challenged by Germany, and I think a point is being made at the moment, and the question is, can they really hang on at this speed to make sure that the other 2 crews don't come back at them? But half a length of open water, 700 meters gone, that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, Australia really struggling over on the far side in lane 1. We can only suppose that maybe the effects of travel are getting to them, but here are the British. There's Fran Houghton and Catherine Granger. And you saw Debbie Flood giving some instructions then. I didn't know she was meant to call, but she appears to be calling, leaving Annie Vernon in the bow seat just to manage her breathing. Kath Granger is just an amazing athlete, a fantastic spirit and motivator. Of course, she was world champion in the pair with Kath Bishop. She's now won world titles in the quad. She's won Olympic silvers. The one thing that Catherine Granger wants, along with her teammates, of course, is that Olympic gold medal.
Yeah, she's not unique in that. Quite a lot of people would like an Olympic gold medal, but she has a platform from which to achieve it. And
I was just having a patriotic moment.
Well, I didn't know you were Scottish, because she's much more Scottish than she is British, but we'll leave that point behind.
Well, she's racing under the Great British flag, so...
we all do, but we don't like it. Anyway, we'll leave her to her own devices out there in front, and we'll look at China in second place. Now, they're beginning to move on Germany. They've had a small lead, but they seem to me to have got an extra bit of length and an extra bit of rhythm in that China crew. They're closing back on Great Britain, not as fast as it looks from this camera, because that's a very odd angle, but they do appear to have dominance over this German crew, and it looks a little bit of a struggle. Boron, she's working very hard there, and the three bigger and younger women behind her working equally hard and not really making a big impression on the two leaders here. And look on the far side to the United States, where Leah Purnell, Lindsay Meyer, Jennifer Kaido and Margot Shumway are right there, closing on Germany, and looking to me, just from the rhythm, just from the way the blades enter the water, the easier crew. That's the blade work of China, very nicely together, very well drilled. And as I say, if somebody doesn't fit, they just drop them out and drop another one in. There's thousands of people training at the highest level in China, all working to the same program, all working with a devotion to the single cause of a great Chinese performance at the Olympics.
Another little shout there from Debbie Flood. You could just see there Annie Vernon, who's slotted into this quad so well, sitting in the bow seat. How well has she gone into that crew?
Well, she is, but remember, she's replacing a world champion pursuit cyclist, because Rebecca Romero,
yes.
Rebecca Romero, only a silver medalist at Olympic and world level in rowing, is a gold medalist in cycling. What does that tell you about the relative performance of rowers and cyclists? However, well done, Rebecca. She's a fantastic athlete. Annie Vernon took her seat. She's a bigger woman, Annie Vernon. She's got more length, and she fits very nicely into this crew. But China is back on, not on level terms, but much closer. It's 9 meters, and it looks less now. It looks more like 3 or 4 meters as they come into the last 350.
Yeah, America on the far side, just about in third place, vying with Germany. But here are China, Yin, well, going the other way here, Tang Feng Ji, and there is the stroke, Xin Zhiwei here, and just edging her crew just that little bit closer. You can see we're into the last 250 meters of the race, and the Chinese have taken Great Britain. That work, that little spurt that went on there, and you can see America now on the far side, Germany just out of picture now, and that was a huge burst of power from the Chinese. And China pulling away now. Great Britain, we're looking for a reaction, but it's not there. 46 strokes per minute, and they really want, and well, so maybe an interesting cutaway to you, sir, but we'd rather stay with the crew. And this is a tremendous performance, a real explosion of power, and it has taken the Chinese from being about a quarter of a length down to clear water, and they take it. And look at the Americans on the far side taking Great Britain for second place, and then very close to Ukraine coming up to beat Germany, and that is a good performance. And Australia, well, not at the races today.
Australia well out of it, but that's extraordinary change in the last 500 meters. The order turned around in all sorts of different ways. China coming bursting through. It wasn't that China managed to beat Britain and win, it was that China managed to beat Britain by a length and win in 500 meters, which they took at 6 or 7 pips, strokes to the minute, higher rating, but perfectly in unison, perfectly together, and obviously a rehearsed move. I did say that the British would be wondering whether the Chinese were going to do something special. They didn't know that was coming, and I saw Annie Vernon look across and think, what are we supposed to do now? At this point, can we jump 8 strokes to the minute and get back in front? And it didn't seem possible, and they let it go almost in such a way that the United States, sculling admirably and not in any way to take anything away from them, came through and took silver medal. But this is an outstanding performance by a crew, and if you know that they're in slow motion, you realize that they were doing 42, 43 strokes to the minute when they were going at that speed. And did they lose 1 millimeter of cohesion? No. That's very nearly perfect in the picture we've got there.
Well, I'm breath taken away here at that performance, because that was an astonishing turn of power, and the way that it sustained it. And
I have to say that actually in the heats we kind of saw this might happen, because that's exactly what happened in the heats. China did it to Great Britain then, and that's why they were in the order that they are, and it was always a possibility, but by golly, when it came, it came.